of life is under attack, impose strict religious tenets or laws for society, insert religion into the political sphere, those who seek to politicize religion, support political movements for autonomy. Oh, we can't have that. And here's some really bad things. You can't be anti-abortion or you're a terrorist, as well as being anti-Catholic, being anti-global. Suspicious of centralized federal authority. Well, that's a big no-no. Fiercely nationalistic. Oh, can't have that. We've got to be international or universal in orientation. You know, one world government, one currency, one religion, one. I get it. Get the fuck out of here. A belief in the need to be prepared for an attack by either participating in survivalism, you know, like being able to, you know, skin a buck or run a trot line or, you know, grow your own food or having guns or having someone to protect yourself. That's terrorist activity. Opposing genetically engineered food or opposing surveillance. Oh man, I am a terrorist up and down this list, man. And of course, Muslims are more or less subject to a separate system of justice in America. Well, that's totally understandable. The NSA spies on everybody, but I guarantee you there's no bugs in those mosques. Oh, no, baby, there's not. And the First Amendment rights are especially chilled when power has become so concentrated that the same agency which spies on all Americans also decides who should be assassinated. Okay, well, there's your First Amendment. That's pretty much gone. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, this has been in the news a lot lately, and you know what? If you're a coward, if you're scared, if you're a pussy, then don't own a gun. Enjoy getting raped and robbed, and, you know, the police aren't going to show up for a long amount of time. You're going to have a whole train pulled on you and all your stuff stolen before the police even get there. So if you want to be a coward and not protect yourself, that's totally fine. Yeah. Anyways, someone keeps messaging me. I don't know who McKinley is, but hey, let's go to gun. There we go here. Anyways, gun control and gun right advocates obviously have very different views about whether guns are a force for violence or for good. But the mere reference to a purpose of the Second Amendment does not alter the fact that an individual right is created. This guy keeps... McKinley, stop saying hey, stop saying hey. Anyways, the right of the people to keep and bear arms is stated in the same way as a right to free speech or free press. The statement of a purpose was intended to reaffirm the power of the states and the people against the central government. At the time, many feared the federal government and its national army. Gun ownership was viewed as a deterrent against abuse by government, which would be less likely to mess with a well-armed populace. Considering the framers and their own traditions of hunting and self-defense, it is clear that they would have viewed such ownership as an individual right, consistent with the plain meaning of the amendment. Now, none of this is easy for someone raised to believe that the Second Amendment was the dividing line between the Enlightenment and the Dark Ages of American culture. Yet it is time to honestly reconsider this amendment and admit that, and here's the really hard part, the NRA might have been right. Now, this does not mean that Charlton Heston is a new Rosa Parks. If you don't know who Rosa Parks is, you need a lobotomy, obviously, or you already got one. Or that no restrictions can be placed on gun ownership. But it does appear that gun ownership was made to protect the right of the farmer by the framers, and we might choose not to celebrate it, but it's about goddamn time we tried to recognize it. And now the Third Amendment prohibits the government forcing people to house soldiers. Well, let me just read it to you. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in the time of war, but in a manner by prescribed law. Well, we still got that one, so far we're 1 out of 3 that we still have. Now, the Fourth Amendment. This is where it gets a little tricky. The right of the people to secure in their persons houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but be based upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Alright, let's start right here. But the government is flying drones over American homeland to spy on us. Well, there you go, out the window right away. And Senator Rand Paul, yes, all you Paul-tards, you start cheering and jumping up and down because little Rand wants to be president one day. But he did say so, and it was absolutely right because it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. That the domestic use of drones to spy on Americans clearly violates the Fourth Amendment and limits our rights to personal privacy. Yeah. However, even without drones, Americans are the most spied on people in the world. in all history. The American government is collecting and storing virtually every phone call, purchase, email, text message, internet search, social media communication, health information, employee information, travel and student records, and virtually all other forms of every American. Yeah. And some claim the government is using facial recognition software and surveillance cameras to track where everyone is going. Well, obviously you haven't seen the commercials with those people where they walk into the restaurant or something and it has a face recognition scan. It's like, oh, register your face recognition here and you get bonus points or a certain percentage off right away. And then they have it too where you see on Facebook where it's like, oh, I pinged myself here. Oh, Ben Archer and his dog is here and is it here and here. So, oh, a little personal GPS for myself. Oh, I'm so cool. I'm so trendy. You fucking slave. You calm down. You're totally oblivious to 1984 and Brave New World and all this, futurist. You think you're coming into the future? No, we're going back to the Stone Age. Stone Age, mentally, physically, morally, ethically, all this. We're skyrocketing back to an earlier day. Soon enough, we're going to join the Muslims in the 3rd century or somewhere like that. Moreover, cell phone towers track where your phone is at any moment, and all major cell carriers, including Verizon and AT&T, responded to at least 1.3 million law enforcement requests for cell phone locations and other data in 2011. And, given that your smartphone routinely sends your location information back to Apple or Google, it'd be child's play for the government to track your location that way. Your iPhone or other brand of smartphone is spying on virtually everything that you do. Yeah, of course it is. Obviously, the Fifth Amendment's been taken away too. The Fifth Amendment addresses the due process of law, eminent domain, double jeopardy, and grand jury. I'm not going to read that to you because it's too long, but it pretty much says that, for a capital otherwise crime, unless you're the presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in the case of right, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Anyways, the government claims the right to assassinate or identify or detain any American citizen on U.S. soil without any due process. So that's the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. And as such, the government is certainly depriving people of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. There are additional corruptions of the Fifth Amendment rights, such as property being taken for private purposes. And there, I guess the only one that still goes is protection of being tried twice for the same crime after being found innocent. Double jeopardy, that seems to be intact. So they got a little shred. So we're at 1.1 rights out of 5 so far. And the Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to hear criminal charges leveled against us and to be able to confront the witnesses who have testified against us, as well as speedy criminal trials and a public defender for those who cannot hire an attorney. Oh, but here we go again, back to the indefinite detention with the NDAA. Subjecting people to indefinite detention or assassination obviously violates the Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. In both cases, the defendant is disposed of without ever receiving a trial and often without hearing that charges him. More and more commonly, the government persecutes cases based on secret evidence that they don't show to the defendant, or sometimes even the judge hearing the case. The government uses secret evidence to spy on Americans, prosecute leaking or terrorism charges, even against U.S. soldiers, and even assassinate people. Secret witnesses are being used in some cases. Sometimes lawyers are not even allowed to read their own briefs. Indeed, even when the laws themselves are now starting to be kept secret. It's all about to get a lot worse, obviously. True, when defendants are afforded a trial, they are provided with assistance of counsel. However, the austerity caused by redistribution of wealth to the super elites is severely cutting the budget to the courts and the public defenders nationwide. Yeah, of course, and there's 2 different justice systems in this country too. One for the big banks and the other fat cats, and one for everybody else. The government has made it official policy not to prosecute fraud, even though fraud is the main business model adopted by Wall Street. Indeed, the biggest financial crime in the world history, the largest insider trading scandal of all time, the illegal raiding of customer accounts, and the blatant financing of drug cartels and terrorists have all been committed recently without any real persecution or jail time. On the other hand, government prosecutors are using the legal system to crush dissent and the secret whistleblowers, and some of the nation's most powerful judges have lost their independence and are in bed with the powers that be. And the Seventh Amendment right is trial by jury. We all know that's crap. Eighth is gone. The Ninth Amendment provides people to have rights, especially if they aren't listed in the Constitution. We can debate what our inherent rights as human beings are. I believe they include the right to a level playing field and access to safe food and water, but you may disagree. But everyone agrees that the government should not actively encourage fraud and manipulation. However, the government, through its malignant symbiotic relationship to big corporations, interfering with our aspirations for economic freedom, safe food and water, instead of arsenic-laden, genetically engineered crap food, freedom from undue health hazards such as irradiation due to government support of archaic nuclear power designs, and a level playing field, as opposed to our crony capitalist system in which the little guy has no shot due to the redistribution of wealth from the middle class to the upper and super elite, and the government support of white-collar criminals. The 10th Amendment provides powers not specifically given to the federal government or reserved to the states and individual. You know what? They're all gone. At the end of the day, they're all gone. So sorry to take up so much time with that. However, I get to listen to a song. It's called Living on a Thin Line by the Kinks. Enjoy.
All the stories have been told of kings in days of old, but there's no England now. All the wars that were won or lost somehow don't seem to matter very much anymore. All the lies we were told, all the lives of the people running round, their castles are burned. I see change, but inside we're the same as we ever were. Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now. Day's a dream, what am I, what are we supposed to do? Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Now another century nearly gone. What are we gonna leave for the young? What we couldn't do, what we wouldn't do, it's a crime, but does it matter? Does it matter much? Does it matter much to you? Does it ever really matter? Yes, it really, really matters. Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Then another leader says, break their hearts and break some heads. Is there nothing we can say or do? Blame the future on the past, always lost in bloody dance. And when they're gone, it's the end. Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a thin line. Ooh, tell me now, what are we supposed to do? Living on a thin line.
Okay, and we're back. You might be wondering why I'm playing entire songs, but obviously I don't have any commercials in this, so we'll be playing songs. What I'd like to talk about next is Egypt and what happened there. Again, I don't think a whole lot of people really realize what happened. They see a bunch of people out in the street, even though they saw a bunch of people out in the street in Egypt a year ago, protesting the the downfall of Hosni Mubarak, who of course America put in the first place all those years